Everyone, my name is Ben Gromiko. I'm from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And today we're doing a InterNACHI webinar. All of our webinars are free, online, interactive, so you can ask questions, interact with attendees, or ask questions to the presenter. And they're recorded, so if you can't make it, that's okay. Maybe you're watching it right now on YouTube or one of our social media channels. That's cool too. But we have a special guest today, Dan and Alberto from SimpleLab, and we're going to talk about lead in drinking water and old homes, which is, it all depends on, I guess, where you are as a home inspector. But in my area, just outside of a city, there's some older homes and there's some issues that we should all know about. What I wanted to tell you before, Dan, before you begin, if you have a moment, I wanted to offer attendees a free membership to InterNACHI, a 30-day membership to InterNACHI if you're not a member and if you've never been a member. Because you are participating in this webinar, we have a code for you if you'd like to join InterNACHI. Just email the education team at education@internachi.org. That's education@internachi.org and ask for the webinar 30-day code. To find a webinar, you go to anynachi.org page, nachi.org, and you scroll down from the Grow Your Business tab, and there's the webinar link there, and you can get to one of our webinars. So right now we're doing lead in drinking water, but in a couple days, we're going to do a code exam prep webinar, and then we're doing a robotic home inspection for crawl spaces. We're going to crawl through a crawl space with a robot, and then Inspector Boost starts. So there's a lot of opportunities from the nachi.org page. And also from the nachi.org page, if you're interested in taking a course. So we're going to do a webinar, kind of like an informal training session about lead, water quality, old homes. But if you wanted to do a course, you go to anynachi.org page, use the search feature and type in inspect water quality. And you can see a ton of articles about water quality testing, potable water archives. There's lead kits, there's private well, coliform, cistern water, private water things. Let's see, private well water. Here it is. How to inspect private drinking well water course. And there it is. It's free and online to every InterNACHI member. That's why if you're not a member, you can get that code to join InterNACHI, and then you can take the course. And there's a ton of stuff that you can learn in a more formal way through an online course provided by InterNACHI. And InterNACHI is a home inspector college at internachi.edu. Okay, so that is a lot of information that I wanted to share before Dan starts his presentation. And Dan, I want to thank you for taking some time out and tell us, what are we going to learn today?
All right, so today we're going to talk about lead in water. So I guess I'll start with just a little bit. Thanks, Ben, for the introduction. Again, I'm Dan. I'm with SimpleLab Water Testing. We're a water testing and water quality data company. And I wanted to start by talking a little bit about my personal experience. So I've got an old home. It was built before 1986. It was in fact built in 1920. And I am on, some of the best city water that you can find in the country. However, after running a water test, we found lead in the pipes, and I will explain a little bit of the science behind how the lead gets into your water. And so we found we didn't quite hit EPA limits, but we were getting there. So if any homes built before 1986 will have old, typically built with old piping that has some lead, or there's lead in the city water piping to get to your home. And that lead essentially can leach in through either poor. So in my house, for example, we had a couple of different joints that weren't supposed to be joined, like different metals There's certain metals that you're not supposed to join. I think that you probably know about those as a home inspector. If not, you should talk to Ben. But so there basically is galvanic corrosion that happens and so what essentially happens is some of these metals will leach into the water due to improper chemistry. I'm not going to go into super details about the chemistry, but it's a very common problem, and it happens in both municipal water and it happens in well water. And it happens in even, homes built that if you had a contractor that didn't really know what he was doing, that put a couple of different joints together, all of these are risks for metals and for lead especially. So the good news is that it's really easy to fix these issues. You can either do a point of entry, so like the water coming into the house, it can be treated, or you can do point of use, which is at the actual location where the water is going to be used. So like, for example, we have a small RO system at our tap. And so anytime that we're drinking water, we take water from that tap. And so it's a really affordable fix. And so we wanted to talk about, these are all issues that come with old homes. And so it's actually really easy to figure out if you have lead in your water. We actually have, we have a water test kit that's, I think the total cost is $32. So you can offer it, obviously you can upcharge your customers for this kit. I typically suggest, getting them interested at a very low price point, like $50 or $69. You're still making a little bit of money, but you're getting them interested in talking about water testing, which is the more important part. And so you can, so we offer lots of, here, actually, I'm going to share my screen here real quick.
Yes,
So that you guys can see a little bit of what we do offer as far as water testing goes. So here's a basic dashboard, and you can get to this dashboard by simply going to mytap.us/pro, and you can make an account there. So once you make an account here, then you will have access to all of these tests, and you'll have access to be able to estimate water quality, which I'll show you in a second. But since we're talking about lead and copper here, this is what I want to point you at. So you just click view and add it to cart. Right here, this says exactly what we're testing for. It's a lead and copper test. Total cost to you pay $19 now, and then when you actually use the test, you pay $13. Here's our, one of our recommended MSRPs. Obviously, at the end of the day, you know your market better, and so you'll be able to choose your pricing better. But all of our kits have a 5-day turnaround time. If you need it faster, we do have rush kits, which have a 3-day turnaround once it is received at the lab. So all of our rush kits will have overnight shipping and 3 days in the lab. You can have, we include really simple instructions, so you don't have to be a chemist to test the water. I'll show you some of these instructions. They're 1, 2, 3, and 4 steps, and they're all in big bold letters. So they're, anyone can do these tests.
Even me.
Even Ben can do these tests. So if you have any, questions, you can always message us down here at the bottom. There's a little button that will get you in contact with one of our team members. So this is a really convenient service for you. You don't have to be a scientist to use it. We also offer a lot of different other types of water testing. We offer radon in water, coliform in water. Our city basic kits are pretty affordable. They're $69 and test for 10 different things in the water. And we've got lots of other more advanced testing. So for example, if we have our advanced city test, which tests for volatile organic compounds as well. But I also wanted to show you guys a really cool tool, which is still very much early in development. But if you go under our data tools, you can actually do a water quality search, which is an estimate of water quality in your area. So here I've put in an address that is very close to my house, and I click search. I have to tell them if I'm on surface water, well water, or on a utility. I'm connected to the East Bay Mud utility. So I'm going to go ahead and click on utility and East Bay Mud, and it's going to give me an estimate of my water quality, of my corrosion index. So that's a cool tool. Also, if you're interested in, if you just want to check out, this is a totally free tool for inspectors right now. If you want to check out a water quality estimate in your area, I think this would be really good. And it will show you some of the most common contaminants in that area. So you can see we don't have, well, let me look for lead here. It looks like we don't have lead as one of our big contaminants right now, but here are some of the other contaminants that we do have that are fairly present in our water. So yeah, that's most of what I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to maybe open it up. Well, before opening it up, Ben, did you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
Well, this must be a hot thing because, we have not just private wells that have always had water quality issues. You got to maintain and keep things clean and monitor your private well because anything that's coming out of the ground nowadays is kind of, it varies, but there are entire cities that have water quality problems. And if I was in one of those cities, I'd certainly want a tool that makes my inspection services a lot easier to use and offer. And I really like the idea of going in low with something affordable just to start the conversation. And what was that again? What did you recommend as a starting point for a home inspector to offer a client?
Yeah, so the lead and copper was kind of what I used to get interest to the customers. Again, that test is $32 for you if you can wait the 5 days. If you need it rushed and you need it in 3 days, the cost is $69. Again, you pay $19 up front, $50 when you actually use it. But as far as if you're doing anything with wells, we do have our specialized well tests.
Yeah.
And again, here we have our well test, and this well test does cover everything required for an FHA or VA loan inspection. So that includes arsenic, lead, all of our nitrates, nitrites, E. coli, and total coliforms.
Yeah.
Again, the turnaround time is 5 business days. You've got your instructions, your sampling guide, and I forgot to talk about an example report. What does it look like after you get your after you run a test? So again, we have other slightly upgraded well tests. So this one, for example, is 50 different things, FHA VA loan compliant, for a total of $129. And let me show you one of our example reports, because this is such an important part of the process. Is that people don't understand what you know water. I mean, like, you've probably only heard of a couple of contaminants in water, and here we are, offering you a test that has 110 different contaminants. So it's important for you to be able to read this without being a scientist. So I think that this is one of the coolest parts of what we do, is the water quality report. And so this is you get just an easy, out of 100, out of 99 points, score that anyone can read. And so you go ahead and just click begin, and it's going to walk you through your biggest, most important contaminants. So in this case, we have high manganese. It talks about the health effects, nervous system, reproductive systems. So this is why you should be concerned, where it can come from. So the common sources, tastes and odors, et cetera, et cetera. You can look through here. You've got a bunch of different contaminants, very, very detailed on what the health effects of each contaminant are. Support for those. If you want to look at if you want to really get into the science, you can click on the Learn More button. But the important part, we also have some other information on here, the general characteristics, tastes and colors, as well as all of your results, just like a regular lab report. However, the important part is the treatment recommendations, is that we tell you, you don't have to scare your customers. We tell you exactly how you can treat these problems. And so we have point of use solutions, which are really, really affordable. So for example, to reduce manganese, you can just get one of these, you've probably used these Brita type filters. But if you want a more, and you've got lots of options, and so we're kind of unbiased in our recommendations. We give you pretty much any option that you want. You've got RO systems, but we also have the point of entry recommendations. If you want to go on the more upscale options. And so you're never going to scare away one of your customers from these scores, because we tell you exactly how to treat the water. We tell you everything that's in the water, and it's affordable to treat the water. So if you know what's in your water, it's very easy to treat. So that's the other thing I wanted to point out.
That's a great report. I really like the simple out of a 99 score, what the water quality score is. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask a question for Dan and Alberto. And I know, Paul, you chatted something, and Paul, you may have asked a question as well. I know Alberto probably already answered it, but maybe it's good information. Paul asked, if we order a test kit from you, how long does it take to get it to us?
So the test kit to you can be overnighted if you want to, but it's going to add a lot of cost to that. Typically for no additional cost, it'll typically be 1 week. If you want it rushed, we can do as fast as you want, as fast as overnight. However, overnight costs, I think, are $50 or $60 added on top of all of the testing. So if you're ordering a $32 test, it doesn't make sense to do that. And that's why we offer them so affordably. That's why we offer these pay later kits. So you'll notice that almost all of our kits are $19 pay now. So that you can go ahead and order a bunch of these tests, have them all on hand. So here you can see all of our pay later kits being offered for $19. I think the really advanced ones are $29. Just to cover a little bit of the additional cost, but almost all of the basic ones, or all of the basic ones, are $19. We have a really good question about PFAS. So as the public gains more knowledge about PFAS and the EPA still has not regulated contamination levels, do you offer tests for these contaminants? Yes, we do. I'm not sure if they show up right off of your dashboard. It looks like they don't. So if you want it added to your dashboard, so there's a couple of options. You can either, to get a PFAS test, you can either send me or Alberto. I guess I haven't introduced Alberto. Alberto is going to be your sales guy for anything home inspector related. Alberto, do you want to just say a quick hello?
Hey guys, what's up? I'm sorry for arriving a little late. I was having some connectivity issues with Zoom. Not surprising, it happens at times. But it's a pleasure. I can answer your questions. I'm also going to be touching on important points that will be interesting for everybody regarding water testing. So thank you for having me as well.
And if you sign up, Alberto will reach out to you. So if you just go to mytap.us/pro, I think I usually open up a giant Google document to show the link. There we go. So if you go to this link and sign up, you will be able to get a hold of Alberto. Alberto will actually contact you. He'll give you a call. He'll send you an email just to make sure that you've got it. So you can request the PFAS test to be added to your dashboard, or you can, that's probably the simplest way. It's just send us an email and say, hey, I'm interested in your PFAS test. The PFAS test is pricey. I think it's around $200. But I think that it's a good test to have. Billy asked if we can bulk stock the kits or order as you go. You can do either one. So that's again why we offer these at $19, so that you can order 10 of them for $120 and have them all on stock, or you can go ahead and just order them as you go. I really recommend, just because of the delay in getting them to you, I do recommend having a bunch of these on hand. Maybe not a bunch of them, but at least, a lead and copper, a well kit, and a city basic would be the minimum recommendation of what kits you should have. All of our well kits, I did forget to mention, come with an ice pack, so that when you send it in, the coliform and E. coli can arrive at the lab at the right temperature, and all of the well kits are overnighted. John asked us a really good question, which is, where is the lab located? So John, we actually have we're a conglomerate of labs. So we've got 100 labs in our network, 100 plus labs in our network. So it depends on which test you're doing and where you're located to which lab we're going to send that to. So let's say that you're in, Oklahoma, and you're just doing a lead and copper test. It's probably not going to go very far. But if you're doing like the full gamut, the full VOC test, the reason that we can offer it so affordably is because we take tests from all over the United States and send them all to one lab, and they run it in bulk. So that's why we're able to drop the prices on these. You're not going to find a local lab that offers our VOC test anywhere near the price that we offer it at. I think that our test, Alberto, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's around $220 for the full well VOC test. And if, well, I guess we can look it up right here. We've got so any of these plus tests will include your VOCs. So you've got, for example, the City Basic, or the City Plus, which includes all of your VOCs for $189. The lowest I've heard from a local lab is about $500 for those tests. So you might be able to find a local lab that can do coliform and E. coli that's really affordable, and then you should use them if that's the best option for you. This is a service that just makes everything simple, as is, it's in our name. Okay, so can I walk you through an on-site process? Absolutely. If you go to sign up with us at mytap.us/pro, Alberto will send you an email that includes a video of this whole process, but it's actually pretty simple. If they are on city water, you have the kit in your car, you say, hey, are you interested in a water test? I offer lead and copper as cheap as, $50, $69. If they say yes, you round to your car, you grab the kit. You have to take a couple of samples. The instructions again are very clear. So depending on the test, here we'll just run through a lead and copper test instruction.
And Dan and Alberta, I have 3 magic words for home inspectors to say in order to sell a water test while I'm here. So while you're here doing a home inspection, while I'm here, don't ask me to come back later. While I'm here, I might as well take a water sample. And here's what I do.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great starting sentence, Ben, because especially home inspectors have a really powerful resource with the pamphlet that is contained inside the box of each water kit. So this pamphlet is a thing of magic. It's really artistically and visually created in a way that it creates awareness, and people might not have initial awareness about water testing, but when you explain things to them and when they get to see the pamphlet, I've seen it change many times around.
Yeah, we're constantly improving our materials. So here is the sample collection process for a lead and copper test. So step 1 was read the instructions. Step 2 is essentially remove any aerators. So if you have a faucet with an aerator, things tend to get stuck in there, and so it can kind of bias the results. So you don't want to also touch the inside of our testing materials. They tend to have chemicals inside of them. So just don't, open it and just put the water in, fill the container to its shoulder. So, we can show a little nice drawing here, and obviously use a low flow. You don't want water splashing everywhere. And then close the lid tightly. Go to your account, which you can go again to just the mytap.us/pro to sign in. Click on the report ID for this particular test and complete the fields, so that you're going to have to tell us, where did you take the water from, what time is it, or we automatically record the time, and you complete the. I think that I think we're about to get rid of sample information cards, or they're like almost not necessary now. But you do need to, from the field, we do have a very mobile friendly website. So you can just log in, and it's very easy to click on your test that you're trying to activate and activate it while you're in the field. So it's very minimal time, as you can see. Then you just drop this off, depending on the label that you have. For most home inspectors, it's UPS, and send it into the lab, and that's it. It's really, really simple. We try to make this as easy for you as possible, so that you can have a good experience and enjoy, getting a very clean report that answers all of your customers' questions. And if it doesn't answer their questions, again, on the reports, you've got this little button over here in the corner. You can just click the button and you can talk to us. And we are available during extended business hours So that hopefully answers Paul's walking through the process question.
What about disinfecting, spraying it with alcohol? Or, I'm old school. I never did it, but some of the old timers used to get a little flame going and heat up the
Great question. So
faucet.
that disinfection will be done for any of our biologicals. So again, if you're doing, well, let's do a well test, since the well test is a little more exciting than the others. So for the well test, there will be there will be multiple bottles, because you're going to be testing one for metals, one for biologicals, and there is going to be a difference in these two different tests. So all of the well tests, like I said, include a freeze pack, which you need to, just when you get the test, or the package, just throw it in the freezer. And on the day of the inspection, get a little lunch box so that you can keep your water test nice and cold, or your freeze pack nice and cold. And we include the sampling gloves for because I think there's a couple of acids inside of some of these bottles. And so you're going to have 2 large bottles, which are first draw recommended. Now, what that means is that it's the very first draw before you do anything else. You want the water to have sat in these pipes for a long time. Now, the fully flushed recommended is basically a fully flush is just you let the water run for a couple of minutes, and that's now fully flushed. The idea is to get all the water from the pipes out, so that you're not getting biased results from that. So it just depends on what you're testing, what you want to get. So like if the water's been sitting for a long time, that's where you want to test for the metals. So that's the first draw. And the biologicals, you don't want them to have, you just want to kind of run the water quickly through there to see if there's extensive biologicals, because what tends to happen is like near the tap or at the aerators, biologicals tend to grow. And so you can get biased results from that. Yeah. So again, the sample collection is pretty easy. It says, don't stick your finger in the bottle and then in your eye, because they contain preservatives. Try not to overflow, don't inhale, don't swallow, don't give to children, et cetera, et cetera. Remove any aerators, like I said, and then start with the 2 large bottles, because those are first draw. So turn off and disinfect the faucet, and we include a disinfecting wipe in there, and then you will fill the small bottles after doing the large bottles. So the idea again of the large bottles is to basically get the biologicals. And so you will sanitize it after removing the aerator. And yeah, so just like I said, these instructions, they're very thorough, and they're very simple. There's usually just 4 steps for these instructions.
Yep. And Steve chatted a question: how long are the tests good before you have to use them? I guess the bottles,
Yeah. So we recommend a year. You probably could get away with more, but that's what we stand behind, is a year.
Cool. And there's a couple other questions. Would you want to take them?
I'm not seeing any new questions other than walk us through the on-site process.
Where's the lab located? Right.
Yeah, you already answered the one where the lab is located. It's a conglomerate of labs all around the country. So we usually choose the best one according to the test that you're performing, or the one that will reach you faster as well, right?
Yep. Oh, I see the chat. There's another chat box. Sorry, I think I missed the other chat box.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's all the questions. Does anyone have any final questions? Does the report, that's actually a great question. Does the report, Paul asked, does the report get emailed to the customer, to the inspector, or both? You can actually choose. I think the standard, because, home inspections are like go, 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 go. The standard is to send them to both, but you can change that under your report settings. So you can choose if you want if you want our fancy tap score report, you can choose over here. You can turn off or turn on treatment recommendations. They're automatically selected as on for home inspectors. You can also choose to review the reports here. So do you want to see the report before your customer gets it? I actually, now that I see this, I believe this is automatically set to on, but if you want to turn this off and get your the report to your homeowner as soon as possible, then you turn this off. I've had a couple inspectors, prefer that this is on so that they can then communicate with the real estate agent and they don't have the customer driving them crazy. So if this is on, you either have to approve the report or you have to wait 72 hours to get the report, or for the customer to get the report. You can also choose the PDF only option, et cetera, et cetera.
That's really handy. You make it really easy.
Yeah, we try.
Because when I was doing home inspections, this is a while ago, I get the laboratory result, and just have to, it looks like crap because it was emailed over or faxed over a long time ago. And I would have to interpret things and explain things. But you have taken all of that explanation stuff out of the equation for the home inspector. You do it all, and you make it really simple to understand. And very easy.
So we want to make it easy for the home inspector to not have to spend any more time on this. The goal is for you to make, for example, if you're selling a well test, most of our well tests are sold around $200. We sell it to you at $100. So your turnaround is $100. If you can do that by just, spending another 10 minutes taking a sample and 5 minutes driving to UPS, like, that's $100 in 15 minutes. That's a good deal. Yeah. So that's kind of our goal. Is we want you to be successful so that we can also be successful. Billy did ask about preferred storage temperature for the kits. I would just say avoid extreme temperatures. I don't think the cold temperature would affect it at all, though. I think it would just be avoid extreme hot temperatures. You don't if you live in Arizona in the dead of summer, you probably don't want to leave the kit in the car all day for a month. But if it's, I think any reasonable, I think within anything that you would feel comfortable leaving your friend in. So would you leave your friend in your car? Then I think that would be fine, as long as, it's not hitting some crazy high temperatures. And you're not trying to bake an egg inside of your car. I think that should be fine.
Yep.
And Trail Andres is asking a really interesting question. He says, will this set us up for lawsuit?
Great question. The answer is you do need to talk to your insurance company. I think that, Alberto, was it $50 a year?
Yeah, it's $50 for them to integrate it into the contract.
So your insurance will go up $50 a year. If you sell one test, that pays for itself.
Yep. And
$50 give or take. It depends. I think it's not that far off from that amount, but yeah.
And it's a great opportunity to increase gross revenue by bundling inspection services. And so when you do that, you have to think about the risk is really what is the cost of managing the risk. And so if you're backed up by insurance for $50 a year, there you go. That's $50 a year. That's pennies a day for the opportunity to increase your gross revenue, like Dan said, by $100 in 10 minutes. So think about it in that way as well. Whenever you do anything, there's, you can't stop lawsuits, but if you can figure out the cost of mitigating or managing that risk, that's the business decision that you need to make.
Yeah, and we've been working with lots of home inspectors for now a couple of years, and we have heard no lawsuits so far. So
I've never been sued over water. I've never been sued over a water result because I'm not the laboratory.
Yep.
I'm not providing the results. And then there's SimpleLab in between. You're handling.
So if there was some lawsuit, it would probably end up with going to the lab or going to us. But again, we just say get covered. $50 a year is not a big cost.
Yep. Well, SimpleLab, I really appreciate it. Dan and Alberto, thank you so much for taking some time out to show us what you got for us home inspectors. Where should a home inspector go to get more information? There you go.
And so everything, I'm just going to direct you to the site. If you want to activate your kit, if you want to order a kit, if you want to sign up and just learn more and search for water quality estimates for free. Remember, those water quality estimates were pretty cool. You can type in your address. Again, that's still a pretty early stage product, so just bear with us as we add tons and tons of data onto that. But all of that should be through mytap.us/pro. You can sign up, and Alberto will be reaching out to you shortly after you sign up.
Yep.
Yeah, guys. And if you're having any troubles of any sort, please don't hesitate. I will contact you as soon as I can. So yeah, we'll be talking to you soon.
Just in case someone wants the email, it's alberto@gosimplelab.com.
Awesome. And let me say that again for those who are listening to our podcast. It's mytap, one word, mytap.us/ and that's the, if you're on a keyboard, that's near the question mark, pro.
Great. Thanks.
Dan and Alberto, really, thank you very much. Thanks for
Ben.
doing such a great job with your SimpleLab. I've seen it grow so fast, and it's getting better every time you come on. Let's do another webinar together and give us another update.
Great. That sounds good. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
All right.
Take
everybody
care.
Stay
Thanks,
safe
Ben.
and healthy.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye, you too.